Hello, thanks for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Shegun Ajayi. Let's bring you the headlines. President Bola Tinubu performs lesser Hajj in Makkah with prayers for a much greater and peaceful Nigeria. Nigerian France synergizes on issues of weather information and meteorology. Former UK Prime Minister David Cameron named as UK new Foreign Secretary in surprise appointment by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. President Bola Tinubu has performed a lesser pilgrimage in Makkah with prayers for a much greater and peaceful Nigeria. State House correspondent Musbahu Wahab reports that this was after the president's official engagements in Riyadh at the Saudi Africa Summit and the Saudi Nigeria Business Roundtable.
President Bola Tinubu, for the second time in less than a year, was back in the Kaaba, considered in Islam as the holiest site and house of God. His previous visit was weeks before his election, and yet again he was here after victories of election and the attendant litigations. For this moment, the toga of presidency was aside as the Nigerian #1 joined other Muslims here as ordinary as possible before God. President Tinubu and his team of governors, ministers and other rays performed the 7th circuit circumambulation of the Holy Kaaba, ending with a two-standing prayer. In the other part of the rite, the Nigerian leader also performed the ritual of walk between the two hills of Safa and Marwa, symbolic of life struggle. This culminated in a special prayer. Pilgrimage is a religious obligation craved by Muslims, but this one is from a grateful heart.
I am grateful to God for His guidance, His blessings, and His answers to my prayers and the country's prayers for good of all. We have to give thanks to Him at every opportunity that we may have.
But beyond personal gratitude for the President and his team, there is certainly no better opportunities to pray God for a much greater Nigeria in peace, stability, and prosperity.
Your Excellency, what prayer did you say for Nigeria?
For the country, may our prosperity grow and our humanity be kind to each and every one of us. The prospect of the country is yet to blossom to the level that we require. It needs hard work and consistent prayer, and we are giving it to our mind and our spirit in every way possible. Our strength is our diversity, and we'll continue to build on that for the prospect and sake of the country.
This speaks volumes about the kind of president we have. Somebody who is deeply faithful in God, who is deeply thankful about what God has done to his life and what has God done to our country.
Before you can achieve anything in life, you have to commit it into the hands of God. And whatever you commit to his hands, you know it is safe and sure. So praying for Nigeria at this particular point in time is very important. It's inevitable.
With rapt attention, his statemently prayers, his usual leadership prayers for Nigeria across the board. being very conscious of our diversity, which we hope it will be the source of our strength, and of course the vision for Nigeria in terms of trying to unlock the potentials of the country across the board, devoid of any sentiments or rancor or division. And I have prayed for Nigeria and for him as a leader, because once you pray for a leader, you are praying for the people.
These rights rounded off the president's bilateral and investment drive to Saudi Arabia with hopes of a greater deal for Nigeria in trade relations. From Mecca, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Former UK leader David Cameron was named as the country's new foreign secretary on Monday in a surprise appointment made by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Kulo Mohammed reports.
David Cameron, 57, served as British Prime Minister from 2010 to 2016, resigning after the outcome of the Brexit referendum when Britain voted to leave the European Union. His unexpected return to the front line in British politics comes after he spent the last 7 years writing his memoirs and involving himself in business, including Green Seal Capital, a finance firm which later collapsed. Sunak's office said on Monday that King Charles had approved giving Cameron a seat in Britain's upper chamber, the House of Lords, allowing him to govern as a minister despite no longer being an elected member of Parliament. Kulo Mohammed, NTA News.
2023 has exhibited many threats as it relates to climate change and global warming. It is November and over 20,000 tremors have been experienced in Iceland, where evacuations have been carried out in anticipation of huge volcanic eruption, as all the signs leading up to an eruption have seen the light of the day. Here is Kulo Mohammed again with that report.
The chances of volcanic eruption in Iceland is rising, posing a threat to a now evacuated town. Iceland has declared a state of emergency after a series of earthquakes. Authorities have ordered thousands of people living in the southwestern town of Grindavik to leave as a precaution. The Iceland Meteorological Office said there was considerable risk of an eruption. The possibility of an eruption on or just off the Reykjanes Peninsula has increased since in the morning. An eruption could start at any time in the next few days, according to the statement. A professor of volcanology at the University of Iceland said a 15-kilometer-long river of magma running on the peninsula was still active.
Very volcanically and seismically active. And we know that every 1,000 years or so we get a long period of eruptions in this particular area. And pretty much right on time. The last eruptions have finished about 800 years ago, and now we're just starting a new eruptive episode of fires, as they're called.
Kulo Mohammed, NTA News.
Nigeria and France have agreed to partner on issues relating to weather information and meteorology as the world sets to take decision on how to further mitigate climate change. And this came to the fore at a French-Nigeria meteorological seminar business meeting taking place in Abuja. Musa Aliyu reports.
This is the first time Nigeria and France are coming together to discuss meteorological issues as well as that of hydrology. Representatives from Cameroon, Ghana, Rwanda and Uganda are also participating in the roundtable discussion.
So a good understanding and control of the latest technologies, equipment and worldwide best practices is a must to anticipate, prevent and optimize our practices.
It is observed that funding of meteorological activities such as instrumentation, new technologies, equipment, welfare, communication and data exchange are grossly inadequate. The meeting is therefore looking at the business aspect of meteorology and hydrology for revenue generation and climate change mitigation.
So definitely commercialization is the way to go, because if you check our service, it's categorized into public service and then government support service, and the last but not the least is the tailored service. So we're going to expand more on the tailored service to be able to generate more revenue for the agency and for government, and then also deliver more effective services to our clients in the country and beyond.
At the end of the meeting, it is hopeful that Nigerian Meteorological Agency and that of French government will have an understanding in information sharing as regards to weather and other hydrological services. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
A delegation from Denmark are in Nigeria to strengthen collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Environment on an ambitious energy transition plan. Charles Arthur reports that both countries are also expected to share ideas and experiences that will position them for better negotiations at COP28.
Danish delegation led by Minister of Development, Cooperation and Global Climate Change Policy, Dan Jorgensen, was received by the Minister of State for Environment, Isiaq Salako. As both countries reminisce on long-standing ties, attention was quickly drawn to the need for energy growth and security and care of the environment on climate impact. An effort the delegation noted was well tailored by the Nigerian government towards creation of jobs, income and wealth among its people.
I think there's great opportunity for us to work together on fighting climate change, meaning we need more mitigation, especially from the biggest emitters on the planet, on financing, both with regards to supporting the mitigation efforts, but also for climate adaptation.
Isiaq Salako, the Minister of State for Environment, believes there is need to transit to a greener and cleaner economy and financing without compromising efforts to rid poverty. As such, the need for a robust collaboration for an ambitious climate action is imperative.
Areas like access to capital, mobilizing green financing, our ministry has been piloting the sovereign green bond, which we are about to do the third tranche.
The delegation believes Nigeria and Africa are bearing the brunt of climate change as a result of failure of big polluters and hopes at the negotiation table at COP28, concrete action will be taken in this regard. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're back in a moment. Welcome back. The candidates of the All Progressives Congress in Imo and Kogi states have been declared winners of the off-cycle governorship election in those states. In Imo, Governor Hope Uzodinma polled 540,308 votes to win the contest, while in Kogi State, Usman Ahmed Ododo scored 446,052 votes to clinch victory. In the meantime, Bayelsa State incumbent Governor Duye Diri of the PDP got re-elected with a total of 175,196 votes. All right, and joining us to speak further on the off-cycle elections in Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa States is a security, governance and development expert, Dr. Yahuza Getso. Thank you so much for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you've seen the whole events that have played out over the weekend till today. Give us your assessment in terms of the conduct.
Well, actually, it has kind of become a manifest that the off-cycle election is kind of creating a huge amount of fears, a huge amount of money, a huge amount of psychology and time, and then it is a testimony that, rightly, a clarion call was made by former President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, that it will be good if the National Assembly will have kind of adjustment to cancel all the off-cycle elections so that we can have a national election at a time. It is demonstrated that the level of maturity in terms of commitment by INEC, in terms of commitment by the security personnel, in terms of commitment and inputs by the media organizations as well as civil society organization roles in the pre-election, during election and the post-election. It has demonstrated some level of progress that being made and being achieved in how elections are being conducted. And it also, it comes with a lot of fear, going by the fact that the three states have a kind of glaring security challenges, ranging from the IPOB, looking at the other internal issues. A lot of fear have been presented by the INEC and all the stakeholders. But it's become necessary to commend the security agencies, especially the Inspector General of Police, for mobilizing all the personnel on ground and their ability to rescue some of the attempts to abduct some of the election officials and election materials. And as well, a message has been sent to all Nigerians that our security personnel are still patriotic and they are still agile and they are still committed and they believe in their principles of their job. And there's some, looking at the level of coordination and harmonization and how the synergy that was demonstrated by all the security agencies is highly commendable.
Okay, Doctor, it's good you mentioned the efforts being made to have a synchronized electoral season, having all the elections put together in one time. But going forward, how would this election that has just happened, talking about the off-cycle election, be used, for future elections?
Well, there are a lot of lessons to be learned. One, preparation, adequate preparation, and especially mobilization of additional vehicles, which was made by the Inspector General of Police to all the three states of Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa. This have really helped in making sure that the security personnel on ground under the leadership of the police DIG or whosoever on ground, the commissioners of police who led the process in ensuring that materials have been delivered in time, and then in its logistics security have been provided, and at the same time also they try to clamp down on any attempt by any of the political thugs, and making sure that also a message has been sent to all the ruling party and the oppositions to work together. And also it has sent a message reminding each and every one of us in Nigeria that there is election, there is life after election. So that people need to demonstrate that sense of responsiveness and also be able to understand that we have to work together. In all cycles, whatever the process is, there must be a winner and there must be a loser. And it means we have to we also learn out of this how the serving governors of the three states demonstrate some level of coordination mechanism, provided the enabling environment, and ensure that all the stakeholders that were on ground, the civil society, the INEC staff, the ad hoc staff, as well as everybody was provided with an enabling environment to deliver as required.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yahuza Getso. Of course, there is life after elections, and that starts even from today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure.
All right, and still on the off-cycle election that just concluded today, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, Governor Duye Diri of Bayelsa State, and Governor-elect Usman Ododo of Kogi State on their victory in the November 11 governorship elections. The president commends the electorate in Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa states for their participation in the electoral process, affirming the resilience of democratic institutions and the power of the people in shaping the nation's political landscape. President Tinubu says the outcome of the elections reflects the wishes of the people, emphasizing that democracy thrives when voters reward competence, transparency, and good governance. Similarly, former President Muhammadu Buhari has also congratulated the All Progressives Congress (APC) on winning the governorship elections in Imo and Kogi states. He thanked the people of the two states for reaffirming their confidence in the nation's biggest political party. The former president thanked particularly the party leaders and the workers who labored tirelessly to ensure the re-emergence of Senator Hope Uzodinma for his second term in Imo and Alhaji Usman Ododo as the new governor-elect of Kogi State. Nigeria, we hear, is evolving, and with efforts of successive governments, a better Nigeria is certain. This was the assurance given by Nigeria's former Chief of Army Staff, Tukur Yusuf Buratai, at the Our Nigeria News Forum in Abuja. The event was an opportunity to create a platform for unsung heroes of the nation. Well, among them is Major General Victor Ezugo, whose inward looking led to the manufacturing of locally manufactured arms and ammunition in the country.
Platforms like this, we can unveil, we can showcase men of timber and caliber that could be seen and give them more responsibilities. If not more responsibilities, be encouraged to do more.
And this is one way of identifying hardworking, loyal, and committed Nigerians, where they are given this award in recognition of their selfless service to humanity.
Contributions of His Royal Majesty Hamid Adekunle Oyelude to national development earned him the legendary Icon of the Year.
I've been an advocate of support for our security operative, our gallant men, for quite some time, and I've been consistent about it. So a new Nigeria is very, very possible. As far as I'm concerned, the processes of our political development in the last 26, 27 years from 1999 to date is showing that with time, democracy will come to flourish.
Organizers of the event want Nigerians to support the present administration for the actualization of the renewed hope agenda of the government. President Bola Tinubu has tasked judicial officials in the country to key into his administration's renewed hope agenda to correct negative perceptions about Nigeria. He gave the charge at the opening of Conference of Judges of Superior Courts of Record in Abuja. Judiciary correspondent Austin Ayembe reports.
The conference brings together all judges of superior courts covering the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Federal High Court, Industrial Court and others. It provides platform to take stock of events in the justice sector and chart a way forward. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, represented by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, was frank in areas the judiciary should focus to deepen Nigeria's democracy.
Nigeria's global ratings on the Rule of Law Index, Democracy Index, Open Government Index, Corruption Perception Index, etc., are no doubt discouraging. Hence, one of the cardinal items on our renewed hope agenda under my leadership is our commitment to drive the judicial reforms to achieve sustainable socio-economic growth and investment.
Other key stakeholders in the judiciary interrupted at the conference and expressed diverse views.
The judiciary is still grappling with obtaining palpable independence, since what has been in place over the years is at best superficial.
The legislature as the People's Parliament and the judiciary as the last half of the common man must collaborate to meet the expectations of good governance.
We continue to place premium on improving the performance of judicial officers through capacity building and on strengthening the strategies and consistency with the justice sector.
The conference is organized by the National Judicial Institute as part of their mandate in the area of capacity building. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution has begun a strategic program on negotiation and mediation to develop manpower with relevant skills in conflict management. The 2-week course is designed to equip experts in conflict resolution with the contemporary ways of mediation and negotiation in a world that is increasingly riddled with conflict and crisis. Director General of the Institute believes that with more people getting involved in peace-building processes, crisis management is getting easier.
What we are doing is to build these people with these skills, and then they can begin to escalate, these skills, across the nooks and crannies of the country. And together we'll make a world of difference. So making a difference is not an easy business, but I'm very, very confident. And like I've told the participants, you need to have a renewed hope, first and foremost, in yourself as a person. Then you have a renewed hope in your family, you have a renewed hope in your community, you have a renewed hope in the nation states of Nigeria, and then have a renewed hope in the world, for you to make a better country happen. The mistake you do is to lose hope, so you cannot afford to lose hope, and that is why we must run with the President Tinubu's mantra of a renewed hope agenda.
Participants are drawn from the public and private sectors of the nation's economy. All right, together let's find out how Tuesday's weather will look like. That's the news. Thank you very much for your time. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Shagun Ajayi. Bye.